Hello, beautiful people. Thanks for tuning in. I want to speak again, just some things that I'm feeling really inspired about today and for the past few days. Building the new paradigm. This is one of my favorite subjects. If you're familiar with my work, I've been talking about it for years, and it's really that time now. Now it's really the best time to start the revolution. And starting the revolution might not be what we previously thought it would look like. And I really want to get into that because we really are so empowered. People always say, "You're so positive on here. Thanks for your positivity," or "How are you so positive?" But if you could see what I see, there's no way you couldn't be positive. I mean, it's incredible what's going on right now. If you can see the bigger picture, see the energy chains that are in motion, not just right now, but even just in the next year. If you've been paying attention to what's been going on, I know I've been tuning into this whole light versus dark battle since I was probably about 15 or 16. And I will say, I definitely had my fair share of existential crises about what was going on, about the evil, thinking that we were going to have this complete new world order, tyranny, police state, all that kind of stuff. I've definitely been through that several times. But it's sort of like, it's brought me a lot more vision and wisdom in seeing now, we are in a better spot than we've ever been in. We really, really are. And I can see that so clearly. There's not even a shadow of a doubt, and I'm not trying to, be unrealistic saying that it's like, it's all perfect and there's no chaos and there's, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's no reason to be truly afraid. We are so divinely guided. There is a divine order to all of this, 100%. I mean, it's almost like you have to be pretty blind not to see it. But if you can't see it, that's okay. You can always tune in, and it will come to you. I can just see it. Every time, the dark team tries to do something, it's just like instant blowback. I can already see it before it happens because people are awake. Like I said, I started paying attention to this kind of stuff years ago, even just 5 years ago. If you were talking about anything about the deep state or any of this stuff, people would ridicule you and think you were crazy. People were so closed-minded and not ready for that at all, whereas now it's the grand awakening. People are so open and ready, and you still, maybe not everyone, but compared to how it was just 5 years ago, I mean, this is completely new world, 100%. So there's really no reason to be discouraged. This is the best time. We are at critical mass with awakened beings, and we cannot regress. We truly cannot regress at this point. It's really important to understand and remind yourself, if you do find yourself getting frustrated, keep reminding yourself of the bigger picture, because there is a bigger picture, and I see it so vibrantly, this new paradigm, this world. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I can just feel it and see it, this bigger picture, and it just makes me so grateful and excited that I really, I haven't felt any fear about this whole thing, not even once. Again, like I said, I had my own, when I was first awakening in the first stages of this, I did have my existential crises too, but the only reason I'm saying this is because I don't even think that's necessary. I'm trying to provide the information and the assurance that that's really not even necessary, because if you really tune into your heart and spiritually pay attention to what's going on right now, there's no reason to fear anything. And you are so empowered. We are all so empowered. Truly, once you start getting into our real history, our real origins, our real spiritual nature beyond what has been programmed. All this stuff has to be relearned and rethought about, and it can be really tricky sometimes, this matrix programming. But the more you can truly go beyond the third dimension, because and we keep reminding ourselves, everything material is energy. Everything. There's no exception. Even physics tells us that. Everything. Everyone knows that. Everyone should know that. Ever since the ancient times, everybody knows. It's all energy. It's all vibration. Everything. It's all consciousness. Everything. Remind yourself again and again if you get tripped up over the material situation, because we have complete say in how it unfolds. We really do, in our personal experience and in the collective. We really do, and it's good to remember that again and again, because that's the way it is. It's not like we're victims. We're really not victims unless we believe we are, and then we are in that sense, because you're creating that experience for yourself. So, I just wanted to mention that briefly, because I really want people to feel inspired and uplifted right now in general, because amazing things are at foot. And you can tap into them. You can tune into them. There's really no reason to be in fear at all. None of this evil coming to the surface is new. None of it. It's old. We are in the revelations. We are in the revealing. It has to be revealed. That's how we fix it. By it revealing itself, that's how we can transform it. It's really that simple. There's a lot of energy to transform. But again, that's kind of the work we're doing. And, I'm talking about not living in fear, but at the same time, it's okay to have those emotions sometimes. I do too myself. In these crazy times, it seems like, every day is almost like a roller coaster, which is natural because, you're a human being. And the point I'm really trying to make isn't that you should just be in some blissed out state about it. It's just remember your sovereignty and remember that you're empowered with every experience that you have. And don't beat yourself up when you maybe see something and it makes you angry or scared or resentful or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you don't just hold on to that. Eventually you will get out of that rabbit hole. But the more aware you are, the easier you can transform it. It makes it a lot easier. You don't really have to suffer nearly as much to just get to that real substance in these times. I've been thinking a lot about the shadow again, and just a reminder, the shadow self, those darker qualities everybody has in their personality, they're not meant to haunt you. They're not really meant to actually torment you, even though it feels like that sometimes. That's meant to, when you face those shadows in yourself and you're honest with yourself, whatever they may be, everyone has their own shadow. Some people have anger, some people have sadness, some people, we all experience these like different insecurities. But when you just face on, acknowledge that wound, acknowledge that trauma, and be gentle with yourself. Shine a light upon it in yourself in the same way we're shining a light upon the collective wounds, all the stuff that's been going on. We are light. Shining a light upon it is, whatever that means to you. And take a time to ponder on that if you don't really know. Shining a light in the darkness. You don't fight darkness with darkness. You shine a light on the darkness and you find that it was nothing more than an illusion in a sense. We are in a world of illusions and the illusions are being revealed. It's simple as that. And it's a really meaningful, important process that must be done for our evolution. It is a rite of passage. This is an initiation for the human race to take it to the next level. So it's got to have this element of dark night of the soul, especially for people who maybe have been really, really like balls deep in the matrix. It's probably, harder for those kinds of people. But again, as I was saying before, those are the people who really need our compassion. And like I said, I just wanted to say something uplifting because, I haven't felt any fear about this. And people in my life, seems like they haven't really been feeling much fear about it either. So, yeah, when I go out, sometimes, I see people running around in these frenzies. And I just want to, assure that there's nothing to be afraid of. And all these things you're feeling are part of this process. And you have a lot of empowerment in that experience. So that's kind of the point I want to make initially. And what I really want to get into is building the new paradigm and just start getting people thinking about that because, it's spring, it's beautiful. You can probably hear the birds chirping outside my window. It's time to plant seeds. And yes, I'm talking about vegetable seeds, herb seeds, fruit seeds, all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about all kinds of seeds, because as conscious creators, when you plant a seed, it will grow. There is an incubation process, but there is a divine algorithm where your thoughts are creating your reality. And the more we get into this awakening, the more we purge all this darkness, shine a light in all this darkness, the vibration raises, the faster that manifestation can take place. We are so empowered. I just want people to know that. People think I'm so positive, but I'm just like, how could I not be when I can see all of this stuff as clear as day? And I have my moments too, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not, always a ray of sunshine, but it's just overall, I can just see the big picture so much that, I really can't be scared. I really can't be scared about the little nuances in between. So building the new paradigm, what's really meaningful? Again, we gotta unlearn and relearn so many things. Our history, our science, our astronomy. I mean, all of these things have been purposely misconstrued. Everything. This is the matrix. This is what you have to understand. It's the matrix. I mean, the whole point of the matrix, the whole point of this fake reality that was created by these elitists, or whatever you want to call them, was to confuse you and completely set you down the wrong path. I mean, cosmology, the mainstream cosmology is so bad. It's so backwards, and that's just one example. And you might not even think about that, but subconsciously your relationship with the universe has a lot to do with your perception and your belief systems and your state and your reality. And that's just one example. So, it's really important that we come back to our heart, come back to God, come back to source, come back to our higher self, come back to what's sacred, what's meaningful, because that's what the new paradigm looks like. I can see it, and you can visualize it yourself. What does this new paradigm feel like? We're going back to what's meaningful in a way that has never even been done before. It's like the Matrix has just programmed us to think, to be chasing after things that we don't even want, we don't even need, things that really aren't that fulfilling, and things that, these ideas of success that, maybe for some people they are, but maybe for you they're not. So it's really time, when building the new paradigm, we all have gifts. Whatever it may be, no matter how grand or small, we all have gifts that are really extremely important to the story, and you know what your gifts are. And if not, if you ask, you shall receive that information. It could be anything. It could be anything. You have gifts to contribute to society. Whether or not you or society has recognized that gift yet is one thing, but you have gifts to contribute to society, and you can envision it, and you can see it. So what's really meaningful? Just as an example, for me personally, I've been thinking about all kinds of ideas of building community, and not only in my family and friends more, which is something I've been working on for years anyways, but, taking it a step further and really trying to think about what I could do and people I could even work with to build local community again in a new way, where we can be more self-sustainable and more harmonious with the earth. Because that's something I think is innately meaningful. As human beings, we have an inner longing to work with each other in the earth in a harmonious way. We have all these, in this matrix, there's just been all this between the schools and Hollywood and this false narrative. We have all these ambitions for things that maybe don't even really matter. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to be famous, there's nothing wrong with that, but does it really matter? Is that really something that is going to fulfill you? I mean, and that's just one example. Again, you can experience whatever you want to experience. Everyone has their own calling. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, what is really meaningful to you? Not to society, not to, this old paradigm where people have to act a certain way and look a certain way to be successful. It's not really like that at all. What's really meaningful? Your family, your heritage, your spirit, the food you're eating, the food you should be growing. You should be, human beings have a longing to, there's a reason we need to be in nature at least a little bit for our sanity. It's because there's an innate connection energetically between us and the earth. That's just one example. So, stuff I've been really pondering that I want to, projects I want to move forward with in building this new earth, because it's not going back to the old paradigm at all. It's possible. It's not going back to the old paradigm. And, I've always been about this building the new paradigm thing, because you can sit around and fight the old and sit in that mess as much as you want, but it's not until you just start building the new that you're going to actually see results. It's time to start the revolution. It's time to start truly gardening, building community, sharing real authentic art from real people, and not these celebrity clones that are always putting out satanic messages. I mean, people don't it's just incredible the way, like, how fast things are accelerating and how fast things will accelerate when there's no longer this just overhanging dark destructive density blocking everything. That's been the problem, and we're just so programmed to respect this authority that is just completely driving us batshit crazy. It has no purpose, like, besides to drive us batshit crazy. So when you take out that force out of your experience, and this is happening collectively now, people might be surprised at how fast we actually can evolve. How fast, I mean, there's solutions. There's already solutions to every problem. There's solutions to world hunger. There's solutions to pollution. There's solutions to sickness. There's solutions to everything 100%. There's multiple solutions. There has been. The issue is not that people can't think of a way to figure out the problem. The problem has been there's just such a force actively destroying everything, actively causing problems. And what even is power? Collective energy. We all have power. We all can use the same power. It's just, a matter of understanding that, and understanding our sovereignty, and waking up to the spiritual nature, the consciousness of everything that really is. It's not really time to make fun of spiritual people anymore, in my opinion, because that's just the Matrix. That's just the Matrix trying to condemn reality. And I don't know, I mean, that's kind of another tangent for another day, but I guess that's really the thing I want to start thinking about. And I have been, like, putting out there of things I can do to build my local community, to bring people together in a new way, because I can tell people want it. And that's what I'm saying. This is why I just, I've been having the best time during this apocalypse, because I can just perceive these energy chains, and they're phenomenal. I can just see every single time every single time the media does something to try to throw us off, the blowback is immediate, because people are awake. It's just immediate. You can just see it. Like, for example, them trying to keep everybody isolated like this ultimately is going to bring people together. That is kind of this rite of passage. People are going to wake up and realize, people are protesting at this point because they want to go back and be with other people, And there's just so many different layers of the whole isolation thing that seems like it's harmful, but it's actually really awakening and triggering people in a positive way in the long term to come together more than ever. In this unity I'm really looking forward to, because we are all individuals, but we are all one. And one of the worst things that has happened to us is we've been so divided, and we've been looking at each other like we're all enemies, and it's really not like that. It really doesn't need to be like that. We are a community. We're all on the same planet. We're not human beings until they're driven into that madness by this matrix. Human beings are peaceful beings. We want to work together. We want to work with the earth. We want to have families. We want to dance and laugh and make music, That's who we really are, 100%. And that's where we're going. That's what the new paradigm looks like. It's not gonna, there are these challenges and tribulations we're going to get through, all these illusions. We're going to have to keep peeling back each illusion, one after another. But when you're aware of yourself and you stay heart-centered, there's no fear in that. There's no fear in that. That's just part of it. That's just part of the dance, the part of what we're going through right now. There's nothing wrong with that. And when we can take initiative, just, instead of just trying to fight the old, and it's good to be aware of it and keep integrating the information as it comes, that is very important for everybody. But really investing in already starting the revolution, already building the new, because the old is already obsolete. And the more we build the new, the more that becomes apparent. You build the new and let the old become obsolete. That's what happens, because the new is going to be so much better. When people really start seeing wholesome communities where people are thriving and families are together and there's actually morality, people are happy, like truly happy, not like on the surface happy because I have a nice car, like truly glowing with this life force. Growing vegetables, eating organic, eating from the earth again. All these different things. These are just some ideas. Everybody has their own gifts, whether you're a teacher or, a healer, or maybe you're more like a warrior. There's all these different things. Whatever your interest is, you're a musician, you cut hair, you build houses. Like, everyone has something to contribute in this new paradigm. It's incredible. There is a divine order to everything. So there's really no reason to fear. And when you fear, realize you're actually doing valuable work. When you transform that fear, you're doing valuable work for everybody, because that energy is connected as one. There's no separation. The matrix is the separation. There is no separation between us. There is no separation between us and God. And I think that's a good note to end on. And I'm going to, probably be making videos more here now that I have some ideas on getting deeper into building the new paradigm, and in different ways we can do that. It's so exciting because, it's been that time, but now it's that time more than ever to start really building the new. Creating. We are creators. That's what we're best at creating. So it's a matter of being aware of our nature as creators and what we're thinking and feeling in what that's creating. Creating harmony, activating these new energies on the earth. Because again, it's all one, and if you do find yourself getting really scared about what's going on in the world, just look at the bigger picture, look at the higher dimensions. You really can do that. Everything material is spirit. Remember that. Everything. So it's not just like there's no control over it. It's not like it there is a divine order is what I'm trying to say. There absolutely 100% is. Even if we don't always understand it, it always reveals itself in time, in this great revealing. So thanks again for listening. I hope that was some food for thought. I know that was kind of scattered, but there's just seems like a million things to talk about right now. But I love you all. I really do. I hope you're all feeling well. You deserve it. You're powerful. You're empowered. This is your birthright to be sovereign. You know what I mean? When you have this unconditional love, which is God, whatever you want to call it, you don't have to call it God, but God's real. God is alive. There's no doubt. I mean, that's like one of the weirdest glitches of the Matrix. And it's not about religion. It's about the fact that life is sacred and meaningful and creative, and it's constantly expanding. And before I go on another rant, I guess I'll just end it there and save that for next time. But I just really want to encourage people, because I promise there's really no reason to be hopeless. And I'll see you next time. I hope you have a wonderful day.